Hello everyone and welcome back. In this section we are going to create our first Lambda function. Till now we have set up our development environment, which included setting up of our AWS CLI, our IAM user, and integrating both of them together so that we are able to deploy our code to AWS. To create our first Lambda function, we are going to use one of the templates which Serverless provides. We're going to use the hello world template, which is the most basic one, just to understand the components and structure of serverless YAML file. So I'm in my SLS directory here. It's a normal directory, it's an empty directory. I'm going to create all my projects in this course under this directory. So let's go ahead and create our first sub project here. I'm going to just name it project GG1. Let's go to directory. Now I'm going to use the command serverless create. You can also use SLS create. Both serverless and SLS, it's the same in one thing, like you can use any of these. I'm more used to using SLS, so I'm going to use that, create. Then we're going to use one of the templates. Press enter. So this will generate two files for us, one handler.js and serverless YAML file. If I do a list of files, I'll see we have a handler.js and a serverless.yaml file in our current directory. Let's open these files in our VS Code. There you go. So under serverless.yaml, we have some pre-filled content. We have a service name, which is nothing but the name of the service, which is by default the project folder name. Then it has added this framework version. This is the latest version that serverless has. Then under the hood, serverless is going to deploy our code to one of the cloud providers. So the default is AWS. That's why we have a provider called AWS added here. And Node.js version 12 runtime is added as well. Next we have a functions section here. Now under this section we can have multiple different functions defined. Right now we have just one called hello world. Now each function is mapped to a handler, and handler defines a file and then a module that is exported under the file, which gets run whenever this function is executed in AWS. Now we have handler.js file, which is exporting a module called hello world, and we have the same mapping here defined against hello world function. So handler.hello world gets executed whenever this function is triggered. Now functions get triggered based on events, so we can have different kind of events in AWS. So we have HTTP as the event defined for hello world function. So this makes it a API endpoint, right? So whenever this API endpoint with path defined as hello world, method as get, we have also enabled true by putting this course value as true here. So whenever this API endpoint gets triggered, this hello world handler will get executed. So that's it for this lecture. In the next section we will execute this function locally and try to test it.